Hey, how's it going, you guys? And welcome to another episode of What's on Our Screen podcast. I am Elier, and I'm accompanied by my cousin Javier Rivera. I stumbled there a little bit. My bad, dude.
Yeah, you did. You woke me up,
Yeah.
man. It feels like I'm at 5 in the morning and you just scream in this microphone like I'm like, where is he getting all that energy? And I'm here in a slump.
My bad, dude. I stumbled there. I was like, but you guys know it's Javier, the Magic Man Rivera.
The guy who doesn't like anything.
Oh man, so how you doing, primo? How you feeling on this beautiful day?
Oh, it's 6 in the morning, man. It's
Six.
I'm falling asleep.
Yeah,
Actually not. It's like 3.
3. Yeah, it's about
But
that.
I feel like it's 6 in the morning.
Yeah, 6 in the
So
morning. 6 in the
keep
morning.
sleeping. No.
Yeah, but so today we got a couple things we want to talk about. So we have a couple shows. First, I want to jump into 2 shows that just finished and 1 show that just started. First show is the Gilded Age. It just finished this past week, or this week. It just finished. It was a Monday show. It's a show written by Julian Fellows, who is the writer and creator of Downton Abbey. So if you guys are a Downton Abbey fan and fanatic, and you guys have been missing the universe and that space and the elegance and all that stuff, the Gilded Age is the show for you. I'd say is a more adult version of Downton Abbey. He can it's on HBO Max, so he can stretch his legs and do more things there, and so I think it's the adult version for sure of Downton Abbey, but it's based on the Gilded Age of America. Is that time of progression and prosperity where technology and innovation was not being stifled. It was just being promoted and pushed forward on a regular and constant basis. Oil tycoons, um, railroad tycoons, and other financial tycoons it was just blooming there in New York. And so during that time frame, there was a war of it was a social war between the old money of New York and the new money of New York, and how they were trying to compete for society. The old money was not letting in the new money into their like the social accolades and stuff like that. So it was always a constant struggle. And this show is the representation of that, both on the new money and the old money perspective, but also the people who worked for them. Just like in Downton Abbey, they have the exact same premise here, where the working class has their own life and their own struggles, and how it clashes with the family that they work for. But now it's multiple houses. Especially, it's mainly focused on 2 key houses. That old money is living right across the street from new money, and how they're interacting with one another, and how they're trying to cope with the fact that they're right across the street from one another. And so we get a glimpse into both houses' lifestyle and lives, and each character's personal struggles and things like that. So it's a well-rounded show, and it talks about the progression of New York in both. It also talks about New York in right after slavery was abolished. So this is 1880s, 1882 time frame. So slavery's been abolished for a while now, and it's the struggle of the black community, and how they're treated in society, and how another family that is well off, but the daughter is clashing with the father. And so it's also that perspective of story. And I think Julian Fellows once again has freaking crushed it. Like, this man he just knows storytelling. His way of describing the characters and bringing them to life, and putting them into these organic situations that are developed by things out of their control and personal actions and beliefs. It's just brilliant. Like, they come to life. I can only I can only imagine being one of those actors and reading that script, and you're just like, oh my god, this is it, because it's a work. It's a painting. The whole show is one big painting. Everything, all aspects of the decoration of the buildings, the exterior, the interior, the clothing that they wear. They go all out for the show, and so it's a it's a fun representation of New York, and that's a key thing. There's historical facts in there. There's like historical moments, I should say, but it's all based on fiction, so nothing's based on facts at all, or only small elements, I should say. Small elements are based on facts, but everything is just a work of fiction. It's not real. Like there's a character in there that's John Adams, John Adams Jr., who's John Quincy Adams, the eighth president's I think grandson in the show. They Julian Fellows made him homosexual in the show, so that way there's this tension between him and this other his lover who's trying to get in bed with new money, like one of the family's daughters and stuff like that. But he becomes jealous, so he starts to go after the same girl, and so you see this tension between these two characters that in reality they love each other, but because of society and high life and stuff like that and emotions between them, they're fighting for the same girl, but even though they're in love with each other. So it's some brilliant writing and brilliant situation set up and stuff like that. So but that character in real life, he's not homosexual, so they take a lot of liberties, but it's it's fun liberties, like it's something that it touches on. It helps the show progress and things like that. So if you're a historian, if you're a hardcore historian, just kind of put that to the side, because they do take a lot of liberties in the show in that regard. But for the most part, the show is well established, well told, and the pacing is so it's so refreshing. Like I could not stop wanting to watch the show every time Monday came around. Like, and I finished that episode, I was just hungry for the next episode. I wanted to know what happened next, and that was the same thing that happened to me with Downton Abbey. I'm so grateful that I was able to binge watch that show. I was happy that I caught it after everything was said and done, because I can only imagine how people felt, after every episode, especially after every season. So with this show, I was just on the edge of my seat. I just couldn't wait until Monday, because I was just like, give me the next episode, Julian, Julian. So it's a great show. I highly recommend it. Well told. They took a lot of historical liberties, but that adds to it. I think, uh, man, it's just such a, like I said before, it's a breath of fresh air. Ah, it was a great show. It was really good. I like the visuals of it. I think the casting was fantastic, um, and I highly recommend it. I can't say anything too bad about the show. I'm not a big fan when they altered like small historical things when I first saw it. Like it took me back. So that's why I'm saying, like, any historians, they need to kind of put that to the side, because I quickly started researching certain things when it happened in the show. And I was just like, wait a second, did that really happen? Is this character like that? Like I needed to know, because in that way I'm like, oh, okay, great. Like I learned something. But you got to be careful when you watch these historical shows, because sometimes they write these things so confidently, like it's fact. In reality, it's not even the case. But some people take it at face value, and you have to be very careful of that. And so, as especially a person like Julian Fellows, who does his research and does his due diligence, you're gonna take him at his word. But those out there that are just watching it and don't know anything about history, or what happened in the past, you're going to take it at face value. And in reality, a lot of the stuff is just that, it's just fiction. So I I don't appreciate when they do things like that, like, because again, the face value thing. But other than that, I think the show was great. I think it's well told, and I highly recommend it. It was a lot of fun. I don't know, Primo, if you're gonna jump into the whole Gilded Age of things, but now you can binge watch it. You don't have to like wait every
Uh,
Monday.
it sounds interesting, but I don't know. Right now, I'm not. I don't know. I don't have that type of show like that, like historical fiction almost.
Mm.
It's like I'm not too keen on it. Like it's not my wheelhouse. Downtown Abbey just came and just I didn't. Even Madman, I couldn't even pass season 3. It was the acting was all good, but it was so long too, and
Mm.
so I don't know if I could get into this. How many episodes is this one?
I want to say it's nine episodes.
Okay.
9. Yeah, I'm gonna say it's 9. I just finished the show. I don't remember. It's between 9 or 10, but I want to say it's 9 episodes. It could be 8. I don't know. It was short. It wasn't long at all. It wasn't that long, surprisingly, which is good. They each episode was meaty with story, and I think that's why I was so hungry for more because each episode had a beginning, middle, and end, and a conclusion to a problem that started there. And yet it still pushed the main story forward, and everything
So,
bled into each other. So it was great.
so this is a limited series, or this is
No, I don't. They left it. They left it open. The end of the season finale was an open ending. So things are changing, and some people got what they wanted, and others got hurt, and others' journeys just begun. So there was a great conclusion. Everybody's desires were met in some way or another, which was great, and things turned out for some exactly how they hoped it would, and others not as they hoped it would. But everybody got what they wanted at the end, and that's really key. That's for for storytelling. Like each character wants an individual thing, and so it might have not they might not have received it the way they wanted it to, but they got what they wanted essentially at the end.
okay.
So, and everybody kind of learned a lesson and everybody changed. And you see the shifting in characters and the establishment and the planting of seeds of like new love affairs and stuff like not like affairs, but new love and things like that. Just like little moments of establishment, which I love those kind of moments because then you see things build out slowly, and then once it happens, you're like, oh, like I saw the journey of that, as opposed to like, here's this, and now it's this, now it's blossomed. It's like, come on, man, you just established that last episode, and now you expect us to believe that. So, but no, it's a slow burn, but it's so rewarding at the end, and it left me wanting more. So I'm pretty sure it's gonna be um, there's going to be another season, uh, and maybe the show could be as long as 6 seasons. I don't think it needs to be any longer than that, but hey, I don't know. I think I wouldn't say it's like a Game of Thrones, but it's a more somber version of it. It's just Julian Fellows is such a good writer, man. The guy's
Yeah,
just
he has a very extensive history of writing, and
yeah.
you know, I saw his IMDb, and he even did I think in 2011, he did I think Titanic miniseries.
Mm, that I did
So
not
he has
say.
a lot. Yeah, he has a lot of work there.
Yeah.
So
Yes, he does well with classes and humanity. He's a good personable storyteller where he tells the story of individuals and makes it feel like they're part of something bigger, like and their small problems are just so important, and it just
yeah,
yeah.
it's like maybe not the same way, but it's like David Simmons, I think he did The Wire,
Oh
and
yeah.
he did The Treme. So he kind of captures the essence of these, the city where he's basing the stories, the main almost the main character.
Yes, yes.
These people are in there. So yeah,
Yeah.
he has a new show coming out about police work in Baltimore. So HBO, I think. So that's that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really enjoy those type of creators. Like they're very unique and have a knack for a
Mhm.
certain style of like the guy from the creator of forgot his name, The Sopranos. He just has a
Um
knack for just for mobster storylines and dialogue and stuff like that. So yeah,
yeah. It's
that
like
was good. Yeah,
it's like Martin Scorsese. Martin Scorsese has that same ability. When he did Taxi
yeah,
Driver, New York was a
yeah,
character.
yeah.
And so the same thing happened with Casino. The
Mhm.
characters and the mobsters and everything like that, and even the city of Las Vegas was a little bit of a character there. But yeah, no, it's a great show, and Julian Fellows is a great writer. And so if you just want a masterclass of like personable story, and just watch the Gilded Age because it has its own voice, but when you see it, you see Downton and Abbey, like the shots, the shot breakdowns and stuff like that, and the establishing shots, and yeah, it screams Downton Abbey, but yet it has its own voice and its own unique style, and that's important. Because if you ended up making Downton and Abbey but in New York, then everybody would see through that, and the show wouldn't have the legs that it has. But they made it its own thing, which was so important. But it still ties into, it still has that essence of Downton Abbey. So you'll feel right at home, and I felt right at home when I watched it because I love me some Downton Abbey, love it.
Yeah, I haven't seen that show. Yeah, it was a craze when it came out. Like
Oh
it
yeah,
had such a following.
yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, so all in all, I give the show like an 8, like a solid 8. Like I think I think it was really well told, um, and I think everybody will enjoy it. So even people who haven't seen Downton Abbey, it's not a prereq. Just sit down and just enjoy the show. I highly recommend it for you to binge watch it. So that's
Isn't
my.
there a new show from Downton Abbey?
There's a movie coming out. There's another
Oh,
movie.
oh, movie. Okay, a
Yeah,
movie.
there's another
New
movie.
Age, something like that.
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, it's the last movie was fun because it was kind of like closure for everything. Kind of gave us a nice little closure. This one, I'm not 100% sure what it's going to be about or how it's going to go about, but yeah, I think it's going to be a movie. I wouldn't, you know, if they decided to revitalize the show, I think that would be pretty cool. But I think yeah, this is the story about the grandmother. The grandmother had like a love affair back in the day, and they all go to Italy or something like that. I think so, based on the trailer that I saw. So yeah, but moving on to the next show is this one actually finished last week. It finished last week, and it's Raised by Wolves. Now this is a show that is produced by Ridley Scott, and Ridley Scott's son directed the first 2 episodes of the first season, and it's like super sci-fi based. It kind of has that essence of Ridley Scott. It has like the aesthetics of Ridley Scott. But the second season just finished, and it's I don't know. I'm on the fence about it. I'm really on the fence because it's one of those shows that reminds me a lot of Lost. You know how Lost in the show Fringe as well, where they opened a bunch of doors where they're gonna
Yeah.
go with the story, and I just feel like they're still opening doors, and they're deep into they just finished season 2, and there's still so many doors that are still open, and they're just I feel like they're gonna get to a moment where they just need to, like, oh my god, we need to close all these doors. So I will say this: the show is very intriguing. The first season was powerful because you don't know what's happening. You kind of like you're in this mysterious world, and you're growing and learning with the characters. But then the second season, all the characters are pretty well established. But yet now you have it's so the main premise is that you have a group of religious people, and then you have the atheists, and they're both they've been at war for years now on Earth, and Earth is unlivable. And so what they decided to do is reach for the stars, and they all found both factions found this group or found this planet that they both decided to go colonize. Well, an atheist captured a weapon, an android weapon that belonged to the religious group, and converted it into an atheist and forced it to become like a mothering robot. So when they crash land into this planet, she starts raising these babies that she's nursing from her robotness. I don't know, and she these embryos, and she raises them, brings them to life, and they have a struggle in surviving there. And then the atheists arrive, and so the atheists and the religious people arrive at the same time, and there's a scuttle, and things just kind of go all to hell. So second season, now they are in the atheist camp that is in the center of the planet. It's like not the center, but what do you call that, the equator, and there's this weird frequency that is blocked at the equator. Like there's like this barrier at the equator that doesn't allow this certain frequency to penetrate it. And so they claim that this frequency is like the God frequency, that people who tap into it can hear God, and God is this deity that tells them what to do, and they call this deity soul, as in like the sun kind of thing. And so it's this season they're in the equator, but they're wrapped around the equator has this water, and the water is acid, It's an acid water. So if you fall in, you're like dead. But that's where like the second season starts to show its weakness, because the science in season 1 was great, because they're in this barren land, and so they had to use their primitive knowledge to their advanced knowledge to advance, to utilize in primitive ways, if that makes sense, to like advance primitive skills and stuff like that. So but in this season, they have all this advanced technology because of the ships that landed brought it. But then they're right next to all this acid water, and so science dictates if you're next to acid water, then your lungs are going to be burning every time. And these people are just running, uh, like near the acid water, like it's nothing. Their eyes would be burning because the spray, that mist in that area, it would be unlivable because of acid, And when there's acid water, there's the whole precipitation and everything like that. So you're gonna get acid rain. So everything should be it should be a miserable, miserable experience for everybody at the equator, because that acid water is right next door. But that's where the science of the show, they just completely bleh, they just reject that. There's like no, because science doesn't exist here. And so it just that's kind of like the first red flag for the show for me. It's like, okay, they're already going real weak on the science. Um, but this season just felt like they were just dragging their legs on things. Like they were like the first season felt like every episode was just like a banger. Like you felt like, man, there's you're trying to figure something out. There's some mysticism here. There's some, something about this planet is alive. And then the second season was just they kept that same mysticism. They didn't answer any questions. They actually developed more questions and answered very, very little to like bare minimum, almost nothing. And they just kept building up the questions and the questions. And so towards the end of the season, they finally like gave you a little tidbit of a theory that they showcased in the first season, that like spoiler, like everybody's regressing, like the creatures are regressing, and now they have some idea why or how, and it's because of this frequency that's manipulating everything, and all this stuff is kind of like based off like religious relics and stuff like that. So it really taps into the whole Adam and Eve storyline and how mankind started and where did it all started, and it's all based off like the fruit of knowledge, the tree, or the tree of knowledge, right, and the fruit and of the apple, and then the serpent that manipulated everybody. So it ties into all that biblical stuff. It's like the story of Genesis, but from the perspective of an atheist, right, and or how Ridley Scott would see it, because he's pretty atheist himself. He doesn't believe in religion, although he tells pretty solid and good religious stories. Um,
Didn't he do Moses or something like that?
yeah, he did Exodus, which I still haven't seen that movie to this day. He did Kingdom of Heaven, which was a phenomenal film. I love that.
The director's cut was fantastic.
Yeah, I haven't. I don't think I've seen that one, but I freaking love
The
Kingdom of
better
Heaven.
version, man. It
Yeah.
makes sense of the story. The studio cut didn't make sense of certain characters and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I understood the story for the most part, but I'd love to see that director's cut.
Yeah, because he filmed 2 films with the with that when he did that. There's a child in the story that's apparently the heir to the throne and stuff like that. In the studio version, it was cut short, but in the director's cut, he has
Mm.
more of a storyline, so it expands more of the story.
Oh yeah, I had no idea that there was a child. I don't remember there being a child in that movie.
Yeah, there's
Uh,
the main protagonist son, I think.
oh, oh, okay.
The love interest to Orlando Bloom's character.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I had no idea. Um, but anyways, the show is just it's dragging its legs a little bit, and they keep bringing up like I want to like it. I really do. I really want to like it, but after this season, I'm on the fence. I just don't. I want them to finish the show. I really do, because I want to know all this stuff like that they're building up. They're building up to something great, but at a sacrifice, because they're trying so hard to keep us like confused and dazed, and we're creating all these theories that may or may not be true, and we all get it. It's like Genesis. We get it. It's the birth, birth of life and everything, and it's based off of biblical texts and everything like that. And but just I don't know, it's just like keeping us. They're so vague when they talk about anything and everything in that show, and it's just they talk up here, above us, and it's just it's getting a bit annoying because the first season I understood. The second season I was expecting a little bit more, just more context of things, and they just created more problems, more situations. So hopefully this third season that comes out, if there's a third season, that it'll finally start answering questions because I could see the show being 6 seasons. I could also see it being 3 seasons. Like, and I could also see the show getting canceled before they even get a chance to finish it. So it's dragging its legs. It's dragging its legs, and I can't. If you haven't seen it, watch maybe like the first 5 episodes of season one and see if the show's for you. But it's hard for me to recommend this show without there being a payoff. The first season I totally understood the approach and why they did the things they did, and the conclusion that we got. But the second season, I can't turn a blind eye to it anymore. The show is shaky right now. It's on rocky waters, and I don't think it's. I think it could easily get canceled if it doesn't put out this next season and doesn't start answering questions. I think interest is gonna die because there was already 2 episodes in this season where I was just kind of like ah, and every time that they were trying to do like farming or anything like that, anything that had to do near the water, it took me out of the show because the sci-fi ness is not there. The science is not there. If you're right next to acid water, it's a miserable life. Like nobody's having a good life near that water because it's acid, and it just that every time they were near it, it bugged me. The fact that they were breathing air fine, and everything took place in front of the water. That's the thing. Like every major a conflict was like in front of the water or had something to do near the water. It was just the most annoying thing, and so I just I don't know. I can't give this season anything more than a 7, and I'm leaning like a 6.8 to a soft 7. Like I just the sci-fi ness was just not there, man. It was really disappointing. It really was because
More sounds like a 6.
yeah, because I think that the show has potential. The show definitely has potential and it has legs, but it's just they're just doing this weird type of storytelling that is like very lost, like the show Lost, or very fringe, where they drag you along
Yeah,
and they
it's
don't
box of mystery.
yeah, it's the mystery box. It's the J.J. Abrams mystery box, and I hate that. Before I thought it was brilliant. I thought JJ was like, man, this is brilliant. Like you string people along, but no, I've grown up. I'm like I despise that because he never has a conclusion. There's no satisfaction out of the mystery box. It's just that. That's all it is. It's smoke and mirrors, and that's what his whole entire career has been based on: smoke and mirrors, and no conclusion, no resolution. It's always edging. To be like slightly vulgar, but that's what the show is about to become, and I don't want it to be that. I think the first season was very intelligent, very eloquent. Like the way that they approached it and the way that they talked about sci-fi, and it was very well done. The second season they just kind of like dropped the ball hard, and I see it on it's on rocky waters, to be honest with you. I just don't. It could be on the chopping block, and it'll break my heart because I want to know what happened. I want to know, but I could just see it getting canceled and people just moving on because it just doesn't. After this season, I'm afraid that it may not have the traction that it needs to continue to finish the full story. So
But HBO's been green lighting everything, so I don't. They still want a lot of content, so it's really Scott. So they want to have him in his corner. So
yeah, well,
probably keep it more for, or maybe tell him to wrap up.
yeah, no,
Or-
I'm with them. I would be like, listen, if you guys need to give us something because I, I don't know. Some writers and some writing teams, they just have vision for the story, like the story arc and where they're going and stuff like that. and that's important. I think if you have like a solid story arc, at least plot it out a little bit, then you can kind of show that to the studio in good faith and show that to whoever needs to see it in good faith, so that way they know it's like, oh, this person has good direction, and there's like an end point. So in that regard, I'd be like, let's stick by them, let's stick with them and finish it. But if they're basing it season by season and altering and changing things, yeah, I just don't, I don't know, I just don't have faith. I don't know, but you're right. Ridley Scott, have them on the corner, you know. But wrap it up, Ridley. Wrap it up. Think of it.
Yeah, I want to touch something that I was reading yesterday. Was that a couple days ago came out the Godfather trilogy on 4K,
Oh yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
I was reading an article how they did the process because um, it took 5 years for them to restore this film,
Mm,
and Francis Ford Coppola was involved in it from the beginning. It's
yeah.
like so it's a fascinating article. If you go to Google the restoration of Godfather, it's very fascinating how they got some the negatives and the other parts they needed and the influence of Francis Ford Coppola during the restoration because he's very meticulous and how HDR affected their they liked the black levels, but they didn't like the highlights that it gave because the movie is very muted in colors.
Mm-hmm.
It's very earth tones. But yeah, it's a fascinating. I think there's a video from Paramount that explains all that stuff. So go search it if you have a inkling for that type of story and stuff. I really like that stuff. Like 5 years restoring a film frame by frame,
Yeah,
erasing dusts and stuff. Nah.
yeah. It's tedious, man.
Plus, it's it's a movie classic. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, and plus the director's right there bugging you.
Yeah, man. It's arguably the best movie ever made.
Yeah,
Best
one of
movie.
them. Yeah,
So I love
yeah.
The Godfather. I watch it on a regular basis. It
Right
just
now, I think it's $30 the trilogy right now on uh on all the platforms right now.
yeah.
So
Well,
I don't think it has a movie anywhere. So
I hope that they would honor those who who purchased it
uh,
a while back ago.
I don't know if Apple did that, but I don't know if it's Paramount that.
Because that would be nice. Because I have the trilogy. Like I understand the remake, the director's cut of Godfather 3. See,
Yeah.
I've only seen Godfather Part 3 once. That was it. Like I watched it. I think when I watched Godfather for the first time when I was like 19 ish, and I watched the two movies and I was like, yo, this is art. You know, this is a masterpiece. I put on that third one and I'm like,
Mm,
mm. You know, and even when I was 19, you know, I'm not like the old wise man that I am now. You know, like I don't have a couple stories in my belt. You know, but I just felt it. I was just like, this doesn't feel right. Like, and it just felt like it just felt like they took away from the character. You know, they kind of butchered it a little bit. It felt forced, like they were force feeding us these characters and forcing us to like it, kind of thing. And so after that, I just never watched it again. It just didn't feel right. So I always stop at the second one and just move on with my life. But then, you know, they have that remastered, re-edited version.
yeah, Coda,
Yeah, the Coppola edition.
Coda, Coda,
What?
Coda,
Coda?
Coda.
Coda.
Yeah, Coda.
Coda.
Yeah, right now I think it's the only version that they're gonna ma produce from now on. Like the original one is, the- the original third one.
Hmm.
That edit is gonna phase out.
Well, I have the digital copy. Unless I mean, I you can phase that out, but I have the original digital copy. So,
Yeah,
because I bought the trilogy a long time ago,
I
and
might jump on it, but I know the story. I've seen the first one,
yeah,
but it was when I was teenager and stuff like that, and I saw bits and pieces of the second one too, but I never like sat down and just watch those films.
yeah.
Like,
I love it. I love it all the time. When I when I'm writing and stuff, and I just need something in the background, I just put on The Godfather because it's so inspirational. It just inspires me, and it's good writing, good storytelling, good structure, good character development, great story arc. There's so many small little moments that you might watch the first time and not even notice, but then the second time it's just like Michael Corleone's hand
Hmm.
when he's standing outside to protect his father because they're about to do a hit on his father, and he's standing out there and he's just got back from the war, but he told a person that was visiting his father, like, hey, stand outside and pretend like you got a gun in your pocket and stuff like that. And so this car drives up and there's like a bunch of guys have guns in there, and they're like, oh snap, he's being protected, this is not going to be as easy as we thought. And they drive away, and so the guy who was standing right next to Michael Corleone, he's there. He tries to get a smoke because he's about to die, and his hands is trembling. And he's trying to light the match, and Michael Corleone, he just goes up and just lights the match for him, and lights a cigarette. But then he himself as a character, and it's a close up, notices his hand is steady, and it's almost like a representation, like a mild foreshadowing of 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 who he's going to become, but the fact that he is he's comfortable in this situation, like he's totally
Yeah.
calm, and it's a part of him, it's something that he can't escape. And it's little moments like that showcasing like the build up and the direction of where he's going to go, and who he becomes, and that's like the first step into that of him as an individual acknowledging and recognizing that this world doesn't intimidate him. He's part of it, kind of thing. So it's those small little moments like that that just that resonate with you because you see the character develop, and they're so subtle too, but they make a point of showing you that the character himself recognizes that moment. It's like awakening for him. So it's moments like that where I'm just like, oh my god, let me write a scene half as good as that. And it's so simple too. It's just like car pulls up, Michael Corleone standing there, you know, slowly puts his hand into his coat pocket, pretending like he has something. The car drives away. The goons are upset. It's like, oh dang. But yeah, man, it's it's great. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Well, now that we talked about something that is fantastically good and something like Francis
Mm,
Francis Ford Coppola,
mm,
let's dive in. Let's dive into
the
to
main course.
the main course of today's episode. The main course, so that way we can.
Hot dog overcooked.
All right, so this Thursday, yesterday, um, the new show Halo dropped. It came out. It was probably Paramount Plus's most anticipated show. The reason for anybody to get Paramount Plus this month or any other time was because of this show. If they tell you otherwise, then they're probably a Star Trek fan. But it was because of this show. The build up, the hype, the new video game that came out, all of it. Even myself, every time I was streaming Halo Infinite, I was just like, guys, the show. Guys, what do you think about the show? The show, the show, the show. The trailers that I saw, I enjoyed them. I thought they looked great. I was super hyped for it because the graphics look on point. The aliens looked amazing. Like I was just so pumped for it. I thought that they were gonna finally do it for Halo fans. Like this was gonna be our first and finest hour. Like we're gonna get Master Chief full blown in color live action adaptation. Um, Sadly, that was not the case. My expectations were so high for this that I was I was completely disappointed with the first episode when it dropped yesterday. Uh, the the showrunners, they decided to adapt. They mentioned that they never played the video games, nor did they look at the games for inspiration for the show. That's a red flag. They adapted things from the books, which the game came first, the books came after. So they're they're already showing that where they lie in that aspect, in that regard. Um, but diving into the show, they 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 have this original IP that has 20 years plus of content, and they have an alien component, an alien villain in the show, and they decide to make the humans the bad guys. So I'm going to take you on like a bullet point of things that were wrong with the show. Um, and then I'll touch on the things that I did like of it. So my first gripe with it is that right out the gate, the opening, the show starts with humans hating humans. This faction of humans hates this faction of humans. It's like, okay, maybe this is before the aliens attack and all humans become unified, which would be an interesting story. I think that would be great. You know, how like not everybody was on board to fight the aliens. It's, you guys deal with it and let us be. But oh, wait, the aliens are attacking us. So let's unify together. And now let's all attack the aliens unified. That would be great, but that's not the case. Humans are all bad, and humans are oppressing other humans who want to live in peace, which is a common theme, right, in society. That's what we all see, or we claim that we all see on a regular basis. And the only moment that we get a true representation of Master Chief is this small sequence of when aliens attack this outpost that hates the UNC, which is like the United, you know, the military of the world, of the globe. And so the aliens drop down. The Spartans are the bad guys, and the aliens drop down and start wreaking havoc on this little, outpost in the middle of nowhere, right? And everybody's dying. The Spartans finally drop in. Master Chief comes in and starts wrecking everybody, and that's the only time that we get to see, um, Master Chief do his thing. The story is really not about Master Chief. It's like the story of Master Chief through the eyes of this girl that Master Chief saved. And so their premise is, let's make Master Chief as human as possible and as fast as possible. So they try to force something that it took the video games about like three stories or three games to really develop and get you like a grasp on it, because the game Master Chief is a rigid character. He's a military character. He's just like gun ho, and he's like all about dress right dress and let's take care of the mission. He doesn't have a lot of emotions. He'll check on you, see if you're okay, and then just move on with his life. That's just who he is. As the games progress, there's more humanity put into the character because of experiences that he has, specifically because of the relationship that he has with the AI and other counterparts around him. But it's that relationship with that AI that has been influencing his humanity and other experiences that tap into like his memory and everything. And so they try to force you to, you know they try to force him to become human so fast because of a certain experience that he has. Like he touches this relic and he has like a moment in time, like in space, like his memory, and it opens up his memory bank, and he's able to see his childhood and stuff like that. And that's okay for establishing, but as you continue with the episode, you start to see that he's questioning things, and he's questioning orders, and yet the human beings are the bad guys in all of this. There's a whole alien race out there. There's a whole alien race that can, wipe out mankind, but yet humans are the bad guys. And they spent this whole entire episode focusing on the humans and how awful they are to other humans and how awful they are to Master Chief. And then Master Chief gets ordered to kill this young girl. Horrible thing. But to build trust, Master Chief takes off his helmet in the middle of the episode. And it's such a wasted moment, because fans have not seen Master Chief's face. We've never seen his face. 20 plus years of gaming, and you don't see Master Chief's face at all. And I don't mind. I don't mind that you reveal his face. That's not the issue. It's how you go about revealing his face. It's how you do that. You know, there's an etiquette to it. Like you have to cater to the fans. You have to like develop these things. You have to build this stuff up. You can't just be like, I have emotions now because I touched this relic and I want you to trust me because I don't want to kill you. So here's my face. You know, and it's just it's so flat. There's that's probably the most anticipated moment for gamers. You know, like you're gonna see Master Chief, and when he reveals his face, Homeboy's ugly as fuck. You know, like he's not even he he's a military soldier. He's like dressed right dressed. He should have been like trimmed and cleaned and just looked very military. No, he's just kind of like some guy. Like, oh, what's up, Ted? You know, it was just so anticlimactic. It was such a big moment and powerful moment, and they shot it from like this position from behind the camera, and they're like, ho 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 ho, and you know, like there was no build up. There was no, you know, that should have been something that happens if you wanted to happen sooner. Maybe happen in the third episode. Something. Give us that, you know, don't do it like Mandalorian where he's just like taking off his helmet like crazy, like it's something fun, and then expect us to feel something when he reveals his helmet at the end of season 2, and we're supposed to be like, oh my god, he revealed his helmet to Grogu. What a special moment! When it really wasn't. Took off his helmet like an episode ago. So it's just it was completely flat, 100% flat, and they don't. It's like it shows like they don't really care about the franchise or the the fans of the show whatsoever, or the fans of the game, I should say. And then you have this whole entire alien race that the Covenant. It's why they don't focus on them more as the villains, as the bad guys. You know, it just baffles me. And there's a moment in the show where you're kind of like questioning things already, and then you're just like, you know what, let me see how they go about this. Let me see what direction they take it, and they take you all the way to the Covenant headquarters. You see all this great CG, and then you see the leader of the Covenant, and it's a woman. It's a human being, and it's like, what what are you guys? What are they doing? Like what? Like one would be like, it's the first episode, you got to give it a chance. But when the first episode is this weak and it's this bad, and you just see everything that's wrong with it and how they approach the franchise, and just it's right there, it's right in front. Like you don't have to do you don't have to do that much work. It's a real simple story. Like establish the character, put him in a situation where you show off Master Chief, and then maybe backpedal a little bit and show where he came from. It should be a story about Master Chief finding his humanity, and how that journey takes him to this faraway place to find it. He has to go to the farthest edge of the galaxy to fight these aliens to find his own humanity. Not like, hey, you need to kill this girl. By the way, you touched this relic. Now you have human feelings, and it's like, okay. And then it's like he takes off his helmet and he doesn't even put it back on. He's getting shot at and he doesn't put it back on. He just leaves it off and he's like, I'm Master Chief flying away. I need to take a shave. I need to go get it. Like, so the show started off insanely weak. You have they're trying to tell the story that mankind is still divided, and that they're fragile, and how can a divided mankind fight the Covenant? But yet they established that the Covenant's they've been fighting them for years now. Um, and so in the video games, mankind was band together because they're getting their asses whooped by the Covenant. They're getting beat up, and they're like they're fighting for like inches, but for every inch that they win, the motivation goes up and stuff like that. So it's it's a story about unity and coming together. But they decided for some reason to make mankind the villain, the whole entire episode, the villain. And and that just baffles me when you have a complete alien race that you can just attack and make the villain, and you had a unique opportunity to unify mankind and make them strong. Okay, fine. This outpost could have been like, hey, we don't believe the Covenant fight. I think it's propaganda. The UNC is just trying to like take our land. Oh snap, here comes the aliens. Maybe they were right. But no, it's like the aliens attacked us. Oh, but that was you guys who did that. You guys attacked us. It wasn't the aliens, it was you guys. You guys killed everybody. It's like, what? What do you aliens stabbed your father through the heart, and you're gonna be like, yeah, that was you guys who did that. Because I don't play politics. Politics stupid. You guys are bad. Mankind is bad. Like, my God, it's a very poorly written show up to this point, and there's only one episode. I don't think that I think the worst thing that they could have done was put it weekly, because if this is how they start, every week is just going to be the same thing on how poorly written, how bad the show is, what a terrible direction they're taking it. It's just going to be like one bad thing after another. The best thing that they could have done is just release the whole entire thing right out the gate. Let everybody rage about it for like a week and a half, and it'll just go away. Now you have until like May. I think the show is structured until May 9th, like, or May something, mid-May. So you're gonna have like 2 solid months of just people destroying your show and how terrible it is. Because if this is how it starts, I have very little hope for the rest of the show. Really little hope. The weapons on the show, like the props, plastic. It's clear to see it's plastic. It's like he's holding a plastic thing and he's going like this, just wiggling himself. It's so poor. Like, there are moments where Master Chief looks like Master Chief, but everybody else, it looks like cosplay. It looks like mediocre cosplay. The best thing of this show, the 100% best thing of this show is the Covenant, the aliens and how they look. Oh my God, they look so good. They look so good. Like, I want the show to be about them, because they look so good. They nailed that. Everything else is just it's so poor. It's so poor, and it's so upsetting, because it it was by far the most anticipated show for me, for this first quarter of shows. Before summer. This was going to lead us into summer and everything like that. Like, I'm just so disappointed with it. It is such a bad show, so bad, and they just don't understand. Like, they don't care. They really showed that. Like, they pulled the rug. They pulled the rug under our feet with this show. The trailer did a good job of getting us there, and they got their subscriptions. But I will say this: I'm committed. I'm gonna watch the whole entire thing, because I I doubt it, but I'm confident that the show is gonna be uh that I doubt that the show is gonna get better. That's what I want to say. I doubt that the show is going to get any better from what it is now. I think it showed its true colors in the direction that they're going to go. It's not going to be like, there was elements like, I think Cortana is going to be developed from this artifact that they found, but it's just like they purposefully just took a big old dump on everybody with this first episode. Hey guys, guess what? You thought this was Halo that you grew up with. Psych, no, this is ours now. And we don't care what you guys think. This is our Halo, and we're gonna tell it how we want it. And it's just it's dumb. It's really dumb. Like, it's not a good show at all. And this is just from the first episode. There's nothing story wise, structure wise. It's just that the approach. There's nothing about it that screams Halo. There's nothing of it's just, and even the intro. The intro is just so lackluster. It's just like putting on the Master Chief's armor, and the music is not even the Halo music. Like, they had an opportunity to be like, like, nostalgia it up. No, they're like meh, 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 Halo, and then show. It's like, oh my God, dude. Yeah, it's they're gonna justify, like, oh well, you got the Master Chief you always wanted to see in the first sequence of the show, like that first fight sequence. There it is. You got it. You got your cool Xbox experience. Now we're gonna tell the story that we want, and it's a helmetless Master Chief who's finding his emotions and his feelings, and he doesn't want to kill this girl because mankind is bad. And the Covenant, yeah, they're run by humans who are trying to save humankind. It's gonna be something stupid. And it's yeah, it's a really bad show. I think it's poorly structured. I think the direction that they're going with is bad. I think their storytelling is just not even there. And I think when you're doing something like this, you have a duty to the fans, because it wasn't it wasn't so much you who brought this, who gave it the legs to be where it's at now. It was the fan base. Had Halo 1 not had the fan base, you know, or Halo 2 have been as successful, or 3 for that matter, this wouldn't be here. It just, and they've been trying to make this show for years now. You know, they've been trying to make like a movie, then a show, and there are people on Twitter, and they're talking about like, oh yeah, Master Chief, he revealed his helmet on this animated movie. It's like, bro, that's an animated movie. Like, it's like comparing, apples and oranges. It's like water and vinegar. Those are two completely separate things. You can, with animation, you could be as creative as you want. You could do whatever you want with it. But live action is just something more tangible, more sustainable. It's like it's real. Like, there's an actor there that you could physically go see him. They just didn't care, and they don't care. They're gonna tell like their really dumb story about how mankind is evil and everything. So it's like Master Chief is against humanity and it's against the Covenant, and all he has is this little girl that, you know, that he saved, and she's the one who's gonna like wake him up from all this stuff. So it's so disappointing. It's so disappointing. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Halo and how bad it is. I wouldn't recommend it if you're not a Halo fan. Watch the show and let me know in the comments what you guys think. Truly, honestly, please do it. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you liked it. If you're a Halo fan and you liked it, please tell me why, because it baffles me that you would like it. It really would. Like, I don't see any reason why a Halo fan would like this show, because it's a slap in the face. But if you do, let me know. And if you don't, let me know as well. Why? I gave you my reasons why. And Primo, I don't know if you have any thoughts. I just,
Um, yeah, this show has been stuck in development hell version of the show. At one point it was Steven Spielberg doing it. I don't know if he's still involved with it.
mm,
It was supposed to come out on Showtime
yeah,
and moved it to Paramount. But yeah, the second season is already approved. So
that's a shame.
no, no, it's not. The showrunner is not coming back. So they have a new showrunner. Uh, so yeah, I never I've never been into Halo. Like, I know its history, in the sense of the video game history and what
Yeah,
it did for video games and the controls, and when you play Halo, you're playing Halo, just how you feel the controls and stuff like that.
yeah,
But the art design on the game and the storyline never actually grabbed me. So even when we play together, like the
yeah,
co-op missions, I'm always asking, does he take his helmet off? Like, so, but I know that there's a CG scene in one of the games where you see his eyes. They take off his helmet and you see the eyes. But in video game, you do that. You do that more just to create mystery and just for
hmm,
you're kind of a the character's kind of a blank canvas, so the
yeah,
player can feel like connected to him.
hmm,
But in shows, I don't mind they take off his helmet. It's just do it right. It has to be a special scene and something, and you
yeah,
know. But yeah, the show kind of looked cheap from the trailers. There's and that's the main problem. I see what you're talking about is that is a money issue. So as for you, if you don't have a lot of budget to do special effects and stuff, so naturally you have to twist the story to have the humans as bad guys and stuff like that. If it was a HBO show or a Netflix show or something like that, maybe they would have done justice. And it should have been something like Starship Troopers. That's the model for the show, but more seriously, more
yeah,
serious story. But that's it. It's a world. It's a world who has the world. The human beings is in conflict with this alien alien, I don't know what they are, this union of different alien races, and stuff. But yeah, I'm my problem is that Paramount Plus doesn't work here in Puerto Rico yet. So I'm not gonna jump through hoops, VPNs and stuff like that to in this that day and age. I understand it a couple years before, 2011 when HBO was premiering Game of Thrones and you couldn't view it and stuff like. But now in this age where you have this all these companies have streaming platforms and
Yeah.
they'll it's come on Paramount, that
Yeah.
sucks. So
Yeah. And
that's
that's
why I'm boycotting it until I can watch it freely. But there's something I really want to watch today, and they announced that they're gonna premiere the the Star Trek the original motion picture in 4K, the restoration they did for it.
oh, yeah, yeah.
I think
Okay.
it's coming this summer. So
Yeah.
I hope they fix their issues with the streaming platforms. So especially here in Puerto Rico, where sometimes we're part of the United States, then for this we're not part. We're a foreign nation.
Yeah,
So
man.
it
That
sucks.
it does suck, man. I hate that. I really do. But you brought up a really good point of like Steven Spielberg because he doesn't put his stamp on everything. Like there have been moments where there've been
Yes, he does. He puts his stamps on junk.
well that's the thing. Like
He's not averse to it.
he's always questioning like where he puts his stamp, and so like his stamp is on this. Amblin is all over this, and so everybody's gonna get a feel of like the backlash of this because it wasn't good. Like if it already got greenlit for another season and there's a new showrunner, hopefully they take it into a better direction than what this is shaping up to be. But it's just like you have so much. You have
Yeah, that's so much lore.
and yet you choose to approach it in this manner. That's just so narrow-minded, so small-minded. Like this just it shows lack of creativity and vision. It's like you have this expansive universe and you just go, "Phew, this humans are bad. They're evil." It's like, my God, like why not
And you
approach
can
it?
do that after like 2 or 3 seasons. You can,
Yeah,
you know,
just
you can do that type of twist in the story. I mean, a lot of stories like do that,
yeah.
but not. It's just budget, man.
I don't know, dude. It's just
Budget and vision. And when you have a creator who's just man, the showrunner was open his mouth. He's like, "Yeah, I never played the game. Never. We didn't go there." And you're like, "You're really dumb for saying that." Now he's not there anymore. So,
yeah.
um,
The
and
thing.
especially if a show called Halo
Yeah.
that has a fan base,
Hmm.
and those are the ones that can make or destroy your show, and you're just telling, "Yeah, I didn't play your game. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't care for it."
Yeah. And the thing is that there are like human politics in the game, but it's up here,
Yeah,
and Master Chief does deal with it, but it's only like very minimal.
yeah.
It's like I gotta go do this, so I'm gonna go do it, and he goes and does it. He completely negates a direct order, but that's just part of his programming. Like it's like my
Yeah.
mission is to accomplish this, but you're telling me not to
Does
do
it
this. Like
does the show open with a big action scene with him, or
no,
it's just
no, the show,
g show has to open with a big action scene because Master Chief Master Chief is like a little bit like Wolverine and all
mm,
these characters that don't have an origin,
yeah,
and you don't need to do an origin for them. Like, it's just them.
hmm,
Master Chief is this nuclear option that the humans have.
yeah,
They should have done like a Halo 5 opening, with just falling off the spaceship, going into the atmosphere, just like the Avengers. It's just that the Spartans are the Avengers of this universe. They're
yeah.
yeah,
So what happens is that the show opens up with them like a small outpost in some podunk planet, and they're all complaining about the UNC and how bad they are in politics. Right out the gate, you just start getting slapped in the face about politics and how bad the UNC are, how bad human beings are, and how many Marines they killed, and how the Spartans are all bad, and these old crusty men are just in this outpost talking about the war days and how they fought Spartans and stuff, and it's just like, really, like that's how we're starting off the show, like mankind is bad. And then it cuts to the leader of this outpost talking like, "Oh, where's my daughter at?" Cut to daughter out in the wild, with her friends looking for mushrooms to get high. And then she stumbles upon like she hears a noise and she stumbles upon a
That's
covenant.
weird.
Yeah, she
Weird, weirdo,
yeah,
weird way to open a show.
exactly. And then she goes and finds like the Covenant ship and she starts to run for her life and starts to convince her friends we gotta run. And granted, friends are high. And then all of a sudden, boom, explosion. One of her friends is completely incinerated right in front of her eyes. Blood splatters into her face. She's shocked. The other friend is completely numbed. Boom, she explodes. Now she awakes and she starts running for her life. She's dashing down as her friends are exploding next to her. She finally builds up the courage and shoots up a flare that says, "Hey, trouble's here." The whole community goes into uproar, and now the outpost becomes like a fortified base. And she runs for her life and finds security. And then the Covenant come and destroy the base. But in that process, that's when Master Chief and the other Spartans, land. And and he does a grand entrance. Like you get some goosies when you see him do his thing, but in all I don't know, man, just like in good old fashioned we hate all mankind and human beings are bad fashion, the leader of the faction starts shooting the Spartan. There's an alien right in front of you. And what you do is you stop shooting the alien who's about to kill you and you turn around and start shooting at Master Chief because you hate humans that much. Come on, man. This alien just got done killing killing everybody. And you're going to stop to shoot another human being cuz you hate humans that much? It's the dumbest thing. And then Master Chief goes and saves his life and then the guy's like, "Oh, you're on our side." And, Master Chief nods his head like shaking off the bullets like, "No big deal. I understand why you shot at me." Like I hate myself too because of all the things I've done. It's like, really? Really? Like that's what you're doing? And then he goes on and starts killing everybody like a Master Chief fashion, and it is brilliant. It's great. You get some cinematic goosies, while these Covenant people are just wrecking life and killing everybody. Master Chief is wrecking them, and it's great. You see the power that these Spartans have, and Master Chief, and it's a team of them, and it's not just Master Chief; it's a team of them, and then the old crusty guy who was like, "I hate all Spartans and I hate all UNC," and he's like, "Oh, the Spartans are here. Oh, they are killing the bad guys. Oh, it means that we're on the same team. Let's get on." Blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, all right, that's great. It just that moment right there just goes to show you it served no purpose. It served no purpose other than yes, these people hate the UNC, and then they push that envelope even further. So everybody hates the humans. Humans hate humans, and the freaking they made the Covenant look like good guys, and that's like my biggest issue with it. Like again, you have this universe that is Halo, and you just decide to just focus your just narrow mindedness and just put it onto like humans are bad. But guess what? The Covenant's being controlled by a human. Ooh, what a twist, right? God, aren't I brilliant? And I a great writer? Like,
Isn't
come
that a
on.
twist from Gears of War, like 2 or 3 or something like
It
that?
was it was like the queen. The queen was like
Yeah.
a woman. She was like a humanoid kind of thing, but she wasn't like really human. She was like human-esque. She was kind of like this human type of thing, but
Okay.
she was like
So
another evolution.
that's where Kate comes from?
From what? Cake?
From Kate from Gears 5?
I don't. Kate. I think she's. I don't know. I think she is a queen. That's what I think that they're leading up to, alluding to that she is like a queen or something like that from that Dena. She is from that. But we'll find out more in Gear 6 when it's like Unreal 5 and like super ultra high def, like
Think
vivid in
I
your
think
eyes.
I think they have another real game before that.
Damn it.
They're doing a
I
franchise
I
or something
want
like
I
that.
want freaking Unreal 5 on everything like now.
Yeah, but still not coming out.
Yeah, no, I know. Anyways, I digress. It was a very I just I just don't understand people's approach and how they would go about it and be like, yeah, this is a good idea. Like this is let's like it would have been awesome if they would have like I get it. Like establish that there is division, but yet you're trying to unify these outposts because yeah, mankind does have civil wars and stuff like that. Like but show it from the perspective of like this is before everybody unified. There was division. Before everybody got together to fight the covenant. There was division and just make it that story. But when you start like focusing when you start doubling down on like the UNC is evil and they're more evil than the evil aliens trying to eradicate mankind, then that's when we have a problem. Because then there's no hope, there's nothing. There's just it makes no there's no story. And how now Master Chief is part of the evil and Master Chief is probably the most evil one of all of them because he's, according to them, killed so many people, including guess what? This little girl's mother, and so like it's just too much of a coincidence that he was the one that killed her when it's like she's in the furthest outpost. It's just I don't know, man. They have an opportunity here to really tell it's written right there in front of them. Like they didn't have to do a lot of work. They just play the games, watch. I mean, go on YouTube. YouTubers just put all the movie scenes back to back together and they just post it and you could get so much information from that, and
Yeah,
see.
but the 343 was involved in the game too, like in the
I don't
show. So
on,
they're the
only
custodians of everything. So
only by name. It had to be only by name because that then they're just as much as fault as everybody else. Showtime, Paramount, 343, Microsoft Studio, freaking who else was there? Amblin. They're all to blame for this just freaking catastrophe of a start. Like it's so bad. It if you could ever start a series, this is the perfect playbook on how not to do it. Because I'd understand if this wasn't an established lore, like this was maybe there was only one game and there's not really a lot of lore established to it, and there's so much hype, like Kick Ass, like the comic book Kick Ass. There was a comic book, there was like a couple episodes out, but they moved really fast with it, so they were able to, make the movie before the comic book could really get a lot of traction. Because I didn't know anything about Kick Ass and it was already out in theaters, and then there's like, oh yeah, it's based off of this comic book, and that was just that's how fast that moved. And so I'd understand if they did that and they took some liberties just for the sake to make the storyline stronger. Like the whole concept with Cortana being part of this like this talisman thing, which I think that's the direction that they're going to go with. Like that's what I think. I think that that's pretty creative. Like that makes sense to me. Like Cortana is part of alien tech mixed with human tech to make this artificial intelligence. But if it shows that in the next episode that oh yeah, Cortana was just something that I had in the background and now I'm gonna give it to you, like maybe it would have been interesting if Cortana was already there in his head and she's the voice of reason, she's like helping him out and maybe he's having a conversation with Cortana, and he starts to deliberate these orders, something just to I don't know. They just tried so hard to make him a human so fast. And it just did not need it. You do that in stages. You don't just do that like just because he touched this relic, now he has human emotions. Like it should be gradual. It shouldn't be just like touch, look at girl, get orders to execute, helmet off. Now we trust each other. Now I'm a human. It's just that's just not how it works, man. That's not and so they honestly this first episode feels like we want to destroy everything that you think you know about Halo. We want to crush it and destroy it and then throw it away. Now get ready for the real Halo, an emotional, compelling ride of a man trying to rediscover his emotions that he lost years ago, his humanity that was stripped from him because humans are bad. And oh, and by the way, he kills some aliens along the way, but humans are bad. Whatever, dude. Whatever.
man, I never seen a show tickle you so bad.
It's just because I was so hyped for it, and it's just
Never get hyped for anything, Ellie. You never learn.
it's true, man. I don't. That's why I have very low expectations when it comes to DC movies. Granted, because all DC movies have been like dog shit, except for Aquaman. Aquaman was pretty solid, but
Aquaman was dog shit too. Like
I mean, Aquaman was probably like the least. But
Yeah, you just like the underwater world. That's all you
I
like.
like how they established it. I think they did a really good job with it. It was
It's
hard.
dog shit still.
I mean, it was hard. I have to give credit where credit's due. It was hard. He came from like, it was the movie right after Justice League, and he had to brush off all that nonsense that he saw in Justice League to just and he did it brilliantly. Like he had a lot of the writers and the director had they had a uphill battle, and they I think they crushed it. I think they did a great job. Wonder Woman was pretty good too. That was okay. Wonder Woman 2 was just dog shit. But anyways, but you're right. Like this show, I should have just I. It's just so bad. It's
When I see a show that's constantly changing, and they're like, "Yeah, it's coming out. Yeah, we don't know when it's coming out. Yeah, it's gonna be part of Showtime. No, it's gonna be Paramount now. Ah, yeah, we don't know." It, it took. They filmed the show a long time ago. It's just been there in a storage room apparently.
yeah. It's been on a hard drive.
Yeah, it's been on our hard drive for a while. So
They had to dust it out.
I don't know. I just video games are very I don't know. Sometimes they don't translate well to mediums. And I don't think anybody has still found a way
I don't.
to adapt a video game.
I think they just overcomplicate it, man. It's not. It exists. It's not hard. Just copy and paste and alter certain things for this for the camera. It's not that hard. People are so desperate to put their stamps on things that don't belong to them that they're willing to destroy and just completely alter things just for the
Yeah.
sake of having their names
Well, it
on it.
happens in it happens in comic books too, and books and everything. Everything that's been adapted from something, everybody wants to put their stamp on it. And I mean,
It's not their place.
I don't think there's ever an adaptation. Somebody adapted something that everyone was happy with. Like even Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings,
Yeah,
book readers hate him.
I don't
Like
I don't understand.
it's
I
like
love those movies. I love them.
I was reading with The Godfather, like some people really hate the version of Francis Ford Coppola. I mean,
Yeah, no, you're not gonna please everybody, and there are people
yeah, you
out there
can't please it.
that actually I I don't know them, but there are people out there that are okay with what they saw. They're
Yeah,
okay
I've
with it,
seen some from the Xbox community who like to show it, some don't,
and
and that's normal. That's normal.
people are just
I
happy
mean,
just to see these characters come to life, and that's just such a low bar. Like there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. I appreciate the fact that they brought it to life, and people are like, "That's awesome. Let's see where they go with it." You know, they want
but
to.
there's issues there that I think. Let me ask you a question: Is there's like in a second season, you think they can fix? Oh, granted, you only see one episode, so because sometimes the worst part of a show is the first episode and establishing this is a guy in an armor, and I don't. It's just that it has the same thing as Star Wars. When I saw the trailer, oh, it's the Sandy Planet. Oh, fuck off! Just it's like
Yeah, they just
it's like, oh, original right there. Because I've seen some Halo levels that look incredible,
yeah
and the art direction in this one just felt flat. It felt like
yeah
Star Wars finished filming Mandalorian or Book of Boba Fett, and they pushed them out. Hey, the sand. Hey, Halo, it's your time now. It's like,
yeah no
oh man. For
it's
me, it's the issue is that it's like when I saw the sand, I'm like, yeah, I'm out.
it's I don't know why they have to try to reinvent the wheel because it's so simple. Just give us Master Chief. We're all here to see Master Chief. We're not here to see
Yeah,
an
it's not easy, Ellie, because everybody has like play people who play the video game has a version in them. And there's their ultra fans that
Mhm.
play the game, they buy the books, buy the comic books, and they have another version in their head that fills in everything. So it's not that easy to adapt,
I
especially a character that's monotone. It's like
you're
he's just Cortana, where's the mission? That's all he does. That's
yeah no I get your point. Like I understand that. Like there's it's valid,
if you were
but
going to go with direction that you saw, there's a perfect template for it. It's RoboCop.
To some extent, yeah. If you want to like simplify it, yeah,
It's RoboCop just with the Space Marine.
yeah. That's true. That is very true.
They made RoboCop just in a couple talking scenes. They made him with a made him super powerful, just showing off like his when they're building him.
Yeah,
I mean, there's just iconic CG scenes where they're making his armor and stuff like that. So it's like they just didn't have money. That's all creativity for that end.
yeah. Money, creativity is a huge factor in this show, and that's evident that it didn't have either one. So, um, yeah, I'm just highly disappointed with it. I don't expect the second episode to be any better, or the rest of the season. Just
Now, audience next week is gonna be these guys are brilliant.
man, that's I don't know, dude. I don't even in this one like normally I'm like the type of person that's like I want to be proven wrong. I want to be proven wrong, and I want them to just you know knock it out of the park. But here I just so like right out the gate, you're just gonna just fuel this. I don't know, man. Just because it's gonna continue. Like the end of the first episode was everybody trying to kill Master Chief in the UNC headquarters. Everybody was trying to shoot them.
Oh, they went for the Captain America civil
Yeah, yeah,
Winter Soldier scene.
yeah, exactly. It's like that's how they ended it, and he fled, and now he's a man on the run. He's like on the lam, and just like really like that's how they ended it. By the way, Homeboy took off his helmet, touch the talisman one more time so that way he can get all his memories back or whatever, and then it shot an EMP pulse that shut off everything but activated his vehicle. So that's why I'm thinking it's Cortana. Like that artifact is the remnants of Cortana. And and then he was able to like activate his ship and just fly off. And then now he's going to be out there for a while. And what's the Covenant gonna do? Come in and track him down too, and then everybody's going after Master Chief, and eventually they'll all meet up and fight the Covenant. And like, where are you gonna go with this? Like, why? Like, why couldn't it be like this level of deceit and stuff like that? Like the internal political conflict should have been something that is building up. You're feeding us these things like, oh, Master Chief shouldn't be doing these things, or Master Chief shouldn't be having these memories, like, and just build that up, give it to us, and then at the end, at this opening felt like a season finale. That's what it felt like. It felt like the season finale of season one, where now everybody's against Master Chief, and maybe the Arbiter. That would have been cool. The Arbiter, because in the second game, the Arbiter or is it the third game? I get those too confused. But the Arbiter ends up becoming like a friend to him because he got, the demon, which is Master Chief, ends up, beating him, and now he's shunned. And so it would be cool for like the second season, the Arbiter is helping him try to figure things out. But now, it honestly, it just felt like they're destroying everything that we know of Halo. Like they're forcefully just destroying it. Like, this is not your old school Halo. Throw that thought out the door. Get ready for this compelling piece of crap. Oh man, yeah, I was very disappointed. I think I'm done harping on it. Primo, thoughts of things to come, emotions,
Well,
expressions.
Moon Knight is coming next week. It's been getting good receptions.
Oh boy,
It's only 6 episodes, so
and that's gonna be weekly, right? It's not gonna be
yeah, that's the Disney model. They want
okay.
to stretch this thing. Yeah, that's it. That's one of the main shows I've been waiting for.
Yeah,
So I'm really excited, scared what they're gonna do with the character.
yeah. See, and that, yeah, I'm excited to hear your thoughts on that. So when that comes out, we can definitely
Yeah.
dive into that. The next episode of Halo is going to be out, so I'm looking forward to. I have no choice but to watch it, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I have no
No,
choice but to watch it.
you don't.
I'm gonna.
You have a choice not to watch it.
I have to watch it. I got Paramount Plus specifically for this, so I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it, and every week I'm just gonna tell you yay or nay. I'm gonna watch it.
I think
I'm not
I
gonna let it
think this
pass
is
me
gonna
by.
be more of a wheel time type of situation
God, that
of
was
them
bad.
trying to get everything out in the open before they dive into their supposedly good stuff. So
Yeah, I don't.
even though I enjoyed the adaptation of Wheel of Time, I know there's problems there, but
A lot of
I
problems.
found them they're enjoyable. They just look cheap. It's like Amazon went for they put all the money in Lord of the Rings and just skipped out on Wheel of Time.
Yeah, no, I feel you, but yeah. So I'm on the same boat with you. I think watching Moon Knight, that'll be great. That's what I'll do as well, and we'll talk about that. And then the next episode of Halo. See how bad things get. See, and this is the beauty of it. I can watch it and tell you guys about it, and you guys don't have to suffer. Um,
Yeah, thank you for your
yeah.
service for the country.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. I do what I can. I do what I can. But
Yeah, you're Captain America now.
saving lives one episode at a time.
Yeah.
But ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Um, much love. God bless, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Also, just before we head out, just let us know in the comments down below what you guys think of anything that we talked about, the show, Halo, thoughts, concerns, queries, all that stuff, and let us know what you guys are watching as well, because we would love to hear from you guys. But until next time, much love, God bless, and peace out.